Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sound Off Sports. I'm your host, Mike Davis. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking a lot about baseball stuff. We're going to be talking a little Paul Skenes, a little bit about ESPN's top 100 athletes since 2000. We got a lot of great feedback from you. SOS starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome to Sound Off Sports. I'm your host, Mike Davis, joined by my main man, producer James Edward Barrickman. The fourth, James, you know, to live in a world where you have a fantasy baseball team and you picked up Paul Skenes before his first official start. Let's talk about this guy's year he's had. Paul Skenes, great pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, selected number one overall in the draft. He's already dating Livy Dunn from LSU, and now he's a stud, and he was selected as the number one pitcher to lead off everything for the All-Star Game for his respective AL Pittsburgh Pirates. So, James, tell us, as our resident Yinzer, what does it feel like to have a guy like Paul Skenes in the fold as a Pittsburgh guy, and just to see how remarkable he is?
It feels amazing. I mean, because obviously the Pirates are one of the, historically, at least recently, one of the worst franchises in all of sports. So when you get a guy like Paul Skenes, who in my eyes is a generational talent, it gets the fan base in Pittsburgh excited again about baseball. And nobody knows this, but Pittsburgh is a big-time baseball town. They want so bad for the Pirates to be good. And we saw it in 2013 through 2015, you know, when they were making those playoff runs, what those crowds looked like and the way the whole city got behind the baseball team. Pittsburgh is a baseball town, and if that ownership group could just spend a little bit to compete, you would see some amazing things down there at PNC
Well, what
Park
he's doing, not just to inspire Pittsburgh natives, but to inspire, I think, MLB fans is a special thing. He's really generating a lot of enthusiasm for the sport. But we asked you guys at home what you felt about the fact that we have a rookie pitcher who's starting in the All-Star Game and whether he should or should not be doing that. Let's hear what people at home had to say, James.
This first one is from Chris Zangi via email. He says, I believe he deserved to be there and is great for the sport, but I am old school. You have to earn a start. Maybe he could have been the second or third string out of the pen. I couldn't disagree more.
You know, I mean, listen, I disagree as well. I think what he's doing for the sport, the injection of enthusiasm, to have a young stud with a little bit of flair. He's got the mustache. He's dating the supermodel, you know, Olympic, you know, gymnast kind of, I mean, she's not an Olympian, but gymnast, collegiate athlete in Livy Dunn. It's good for the sport. We need a little swagger, and that's what Paul Skenes is bringing to the mound and to the sport in general, I think, James.
Yeah, and it's only the baseball purists, the baseball hardos that feel like they need to gatekeep baseball. Like, for some reason, a player like Paul Skenes needs to pay his dues before he can start an All-Star game. It's nonsense. He's the most dominant pitcher in the game right now, and he's only played less than half a season.
Crazy stuff. All right, what else are people saying?
Jeffrey Mitchell on Facebook says, if he legitimately deserves it, why not besides egos? And that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I think I am in agreement with that. I think the funny thing is, and we'll get to this in a sec, the Paul Skenes issue that I have is the fact that his manager pulled him when he was throwing a no-no. Right. I don't have any qualms about him being the starter in the All-Star game. It's more about the fact, like, this is a young dude about to make history. I understand we don't want Tommy John and all these things for a guy with such a bright future, but he's on the brink of history. But okay, let's continue with what people are saying regarding the All-Star Game start, though.
At Tony G in LV via X, he says, I'm old enough to remember Mark the Bird Friedrich and Fernando Valenzuela doing so, starting an All-Star game.
Oh, so they were, okay, so it's happened
He's the
before.
fifth all-time.
So it's fifth all-time. I think it's warranted. If you watch this guy, the high heat, the location, I mean, he's got swagger, he's got all the pitches. I mean, the dude is, what is his record right now in his ERA?
He started 11 games. He's 6-0 with a 1.9 ERA. It's the second best ERA in baseball.
He should be starting. I really don't see how anybody can argue this. But do we have anybody? We have two more responses, right? Anybody against this?
No, most people were for it. This is at John's Paste via X. He says, did he earn a spot on the team? Okay. Now it's up to the team manager who to play, not the writers nor the fans.
Okay, all right. So Zengi right now is the only guy really against it. James, let's hear the last response.
At MannyMan83 on X says, yeah, why not? If the point of the game is to showcase your best / popular players, and he's one of them, then sure.
I think that's a great point. I think sometimes the most popular is the best, you know? There is a swagger, there is something that's exciting about having a rookie phenom who is garnering this much excitement. I think this is what baseball needs. I think we need more guys like him. You know, I think Trout, Harper, some of those guys, they didn't compel us as much as I think we thought they were going to when they were getting their big breaks and being these young guns. I think now we're looking for some new faces. Shohei, you know, it's tough for him to connect so much with the American fan base. So it's great to watch him. He's fun. But there's a different thing when you get the whole kind of like Americana feel that Paul Skenes brings to the baseball diamond. And that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think like baseball needs to lean into this sort of thing more. Maybe because of, you know, he's pitched so many less innings than other guys who might have qualified. But Paul Skenes is the brightest star, is from a pitching perspective, in the game right now. And if he didn't play in Pittsburgh, if he played in a bigger market like LA or New York, he'd be all you heard about on these bigger networks.
Yeah, but I'm sick of all that. That's why it's like it's enough with the Dodgers being able to pay every single player in the MLB. I don't like that. It's good for the sport to have some of these, you know, other fan bases and other cities getting some love. I love that. But here's the one last point I want to make about this before we go to break is not all the time does a first overall pick really work out. Jackson Holliday was called up as well. Matt Holliday's son with the Baltimore Orioles. He got sent back down. They tried to send him up. He played in the MLB for a little bit. He was on my fantasy team too because I'm on that waiver wire scouring. And he didn't work out right away. So now he's back in the minor leagues and he's got to come back up eventually. So for Skenes to do what he's doing,
yeah, it's bananas.
It's pretty ridiculous. We should just appreciate how exciting this is. And I know James, every time he's pitching, even in the back office, you got the game going. You got to see this guy. It's appointment television.
Exactly, it's appointment television. And Paul Skenes was drafted just 1 year ago. And for him in 1 year to go from freshly drafted number 1 to starting the All-Star game with a 1.9 ERA and to be as dominant as he has been is insane. It's not unprecedented, but it's historic what he's been able to do. And I don't think it's a question he should have been starting.
Who's the Pirates manager?
It is, oh my goodness, not Clint Hurdle. It's
it used to be Hurdle.
It's not coming up to me.
Whoever
right
this guy's name is, we probably shouldn't even say his name.
Derek Shelton. My apologies.
Big mistake, dude. Because the thing is, you know Skenes would have actually made that baby happen. And if he made that happen as a rookie, being drafted a year, it would have been insane leading up to the All-Star game.
I was with you on this in the moment, but the more I thought about it, they pulled him after the 7th inning with a no-hitter. He was at 100 pitches already. Is it worth trying to let him go that extra 2 innings, throw 20, 30 more pitches, and risk his long-term health for this one game when you know you have a bona fide superstar, potential Hall of Famer?
What did Skenes want to do?
You know Paul Skenes wanted to stay in the game. The competitor.
Then you gotta I think you let it up to the player. You really do. That's the only thing. A manager shouldn't be if Paul Skenes wanted to pitch that game and finish that, you got to let him do it.
He's too valuable of a piece of an asset. He's a future Hall of Famer. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right now. He's a future Hall of Famer, and to risk somebody that valuable over 2 more innings to throw a no-hitter, I'm not willing to do it.
This is where purists get upset. This is where people get upset because Bob Gibson, all these old times, Steve Carlton, nobody was worried about this stuff back in the day. So it's a shame because it is sports. It shouldn't always be about thinking long term. He had the chance to make history as a rook. It would have been really cool. So I think that's where I stand a little bit. But listen, let's just appreciate and enjoy this Paul Skenes guy. This guy right here, James, my producer. He doesn't wear jerseys of people that are younger than him in terms of life experience, but I think you should make an exception for my guy, Paul Skenes.
I'll consider getting one.
All right. You better do that. All right, guys, coming up after a short break, we got more SOS for you. Stick around. All right, right, welcome back. So right now we're going to stick with the theme of baseball. Yeah, we got some baseball guys from the podcast Foul Territory. Take a listen. They're going to be talking a little bit about baseball and actually a little bit about poker. Let's hear this. We got some great people here. I mean, we're going to recognize a lot of these faces here. Scott Braun. All right, look at this guy right here. We love this dude. MLB Network used to be with them. Now he's got this great show, Foul Territory, with these other great guys. Eric Kratz, Jason Kipnis. Guy, it's great to be with you. Let's talk about this. Poker and baseball. I was talking to Greg Maddox. A lot of times for a pitcher, I mean, you got to have, a poker face. There's a little bit of an element, mono-e-mono kind of stuff going on. Scott, what do you think about that?
I think that these guys have exceeded all expectations with how they perform in these tournaments. And it's not just how they'd perform, eventually, it's how they performed right off the jump. That's the part that surprised me. I mean, they're competitive athletes. We knew they'd be good. They played a decent amount of cards, probably more than they even thought they did during their career. But they entered tournaments. I mean, Kip, first time last year, finishes in the money. Kratz, first time in Vegas for a tournament that we did last night, finishes in the money. So they're pretty damn good.
I don't want to do this to a fellow Miami Hurricane and New Jersey guy. What about you? Where did you place?
I did not place.
You gotta place. Listen, it's okay. It's the green felt's not my thing either. Kratz, let's talk to you. Foul Territory, all this great stuff that's going on. Listen, this is the place to be. A show like this, you got so many different people on the show. Pierzynski. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. What are you guys doing on this show that's so groundbreaking?
Well, one, there's a bunch of all-stars in me that are part of the hosts.
11-year career. You played Pirates, Phils. You backed up Chooch.
All of them. I did back up Chooch, so that's when they booed me and they yelled Chooch when he was up. But it really is, it is a show that has, to me, transformed how we talk about baseball, how we talk about, like, what's actually going on in the game. We have guests on. We have
Ken Rosenthal.
I mean, Ken's like the superstar of superstars when it comes to insider info, reporting, writing, all that stuff. And I get to be a part of it. It's kind of like my career. Like I ride along on the coattails of everybody else, and I get to do some cool stuff too.
11 years of playing professional baseball, you can't make any jokes about that. Now, Ken Rosenthal and his ties, you can make jokes about that. That's a different kind of thing. All right, this guy he's self-hating in this sense because, dude, you grew up a Cubs fan and you just beat the crap out of them out of this 2016 World Series. I mean, how did that feel when you're playing with the Indians? You're batting .290, you're hitting homers, you got all these RBIs, and you're doing this against your beloved Cubs.
Oh, who would have liked to really beat them in the box score on Game 7, but came up on the wrong side of that one. But we had a good series, and it was a blast. Listen, at first you're like, why does it have to be them?
Yeah.
Like, can it be any other team? Because you grew up, you knew who the lovable losers were, you knew the Cubs' history and everything and how long that championship drought has been. And but then you get ready to play a series against them and you change your mentality, and it's got to be one to keep that streak going, to keep that curse going, basically.
Listen, if you grow up a Jewish boy in New Jersey, you really look at the Kipnis box score because you look at Wikipedia and you're like, Sean Green's Jewish, Jason Kipnis. There's not many. How Jewish are you?
Jewish.
Okay.
Just ish.
Okay, the ish part. Okay. Okay, see, it's his father's side. Did you also grow up next to Steve Bartman or something like that?
We did. We were down the street from him. So there's a lot of Cubs history within about a 300-yard radius on my block.
So what happened? His house burned down from people? What happened to that property?
It didn't, because there were police cars stationed outside his house for a good 6 to 8 weeks to make sure that it was not burned down by Cubs fans.
God. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about what's happened just in the league right now. Why is it such a pitcher's friendly season so far with the MLB right now?
Have you seen these guys pitch lately?
I mean, Skenes is nice, right?
It's the age of the pitchers is coming because the evolution of the game is going that way. These guys are throwing harder, their ball is moving more, and they're showing hitters stuff they just really haven't seen before. That's how good they're getting.
Kratz, would we like a pitch clock?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah. Pitch clock's great. It gets the game going. Did I think it was going to be great when it first started? But I'm on it. Like now, shoot, you can watch a Red Sox-Yankees game in 2 hours and 14 minutes. Like I can watch, being an East Coast guy, I can watch West Coast games before I go to bed.
All right. Couple last things. Scott, I want to know two things. Is Vladdy going to get traded?
Yes, but not this season. Maybe in the offseason.
Interesting stuff. And come on, Phillies. They're looking good. them and the Yankees. It's like neck and neck right now. These guys look good. I mean, when you got Ranger Suarez looking like, I mean, actually, he looks like Cy Young or somebody out there. I mean, are they going to finally do this? Are we going to win this World Series?
It's funny you ask that. I picked the Phillies to win the World Series this year for our preseason picks. Who did you pick to win the World Series this year?
The Phillies.
Oh,
Wow.
that's funny.
And what about Kipnis?
I'm going with the Rangers again, back to back.
There you go. I actually lied. One last question. Since we're here in Las Vegas, the Oakland A's. They're going to Sacktown. Then they're going to come here eventually. I mean, we're hoping, right? Now they're even saying they might play a couple series not even here in town. 8 to 10 games might not even be. You're already shaking your head. Tell me, what's on your mind, Kratz?
I got some flack for saying this, and I'm in Vegas, and I need people to hit me up on Twitter to tell me in Vegas, hey, I'm excited about this team. And to me, as a Vegas native, you should be excited about a team coming. This group that's coming, I feel like there's a lot of promises that were undelivered, and I can't get behind pandering to a new city by saying, actually, everyone else is getting 81 home games. You're going to get 71. But hey, come on, give me more of your money. It just doesn't feel right. And being out here, I feel like there should be some kind of sign. Vegas just had the Super Bowl. We should have had something about the new baseball team that's coming in 3 years, 4 years. It's not that far away.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe 5. I don't know.
Now, whatever it is. You need, to me, it has to be sold, and I think it's not Vegas at all. This is not Vegas's problem. This is the group that's coming in to Vegas, and
The ownership group.
the ownership group,
Not the team itself.
not the team, not the players. And I'm afraid you don't set up a date for next year's prom, and then let somebody else go with the girl that you're setting up the date with. Because Sacramento might just all of a sudden be like, hey, we'll keep you. And now all of a sudden Vegas is like, what? We don't get a team? Oh, another under-delivered promise from John Fisher.
I heard about 90% of that. Once he said prom, I went into PTSD mode. But that's just personal to my own backstory and history. Guys, Jason Kipnis, Eric Kratz, Scott Braun, Foul Territory. This is the show you got to listen to. You got to watch. It's on YouTube. It's all over. It's a DirecTV as well. I think so, right?
It's on other TV platforms. I think you can get it on DirecTV, yes. But yeah, just check out, obviously, just look us up on Google or wherever else, and you can find us very easily.
It's also fun to see if Ken Rosenthal's ever going to wear a tie. So that's why I check in a lot, too. Guys, thanks so much. All right, welcome back to SOS. All right, so right now we're going to be talking about this. Honestly, I think it's kind of like a useless exercise, but ESPN came up with a list of the top 100 players, athletes since 2000 in terms of dominance and where they really stand and rank. Number one overall was Michael Phelps. When it comes to here and what's pertinent to Vegas, Bryce Harper and A'ja Wilson were on that list. James, tell us where they were ranked, and I'm curious if you agree.
Yeah, so A'ja Wilson was 90th on this list of top athletes of the 2000s. Most accomplished is actually the criteria there. Bryce Harper was 79th.
Okay.
I thought A'ja Wilson, that's probably right about where she should be at this point in her career. Has she, if she was later on in her career, I'm sure she would be higher. But Bryce Harper at 79, I felt like that was a little low. He's a Rookie of the Year, 8-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger, 2-time MVP, and like one of the most iconic baseball players of his generation. You remember when he splashed onto the scene as a rookie. And he's only 79th, below guys like James Harden, Jason Kidd, Ray Lewis. James Harden, 1 MVP, no titles. Jason Kidd, no MVPs, 1 title. Ray Lewis, couple of titles, but not even a single Defensive Player of the Year. And those guys are above Bryce Harper?
That's strange. Yes, some of the people that are above him, that doesn't sound like it kosher. It doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know where he should rank in terms of baseball. I mean, because Pujols comes to mind as somebody more dominant. So
Pujols is top 30.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of figure out. It's a weird exercise in general, really. I think it's tough to do with team sports. I think it's so much easier to look at this exercise when you're thinking about, tennis, when you're thinking about Olympic kind of stuff, when you're thinking about boxing. It's a hard exercise for team sports.
And there were so many sports on this. Like, there were snowboarders. There were, women's soccer players I'd never heard of. Tennis players I had never heard of. And above, people that are massive names in the big four American sports. So we were trying to put together our own top 5. We couldn't even do it.
I don't even want to do it.
Right.
I'm not interested because it's not fair. I don't want to. I can't stand behind it, so I won't do it. But did we get any responses regarding this?
No, we don't have any responses for this one.
Okay, so it's an interesting thing, but sometimes these exercises are frivolous, but it is certainly something to get people going. Any last words, though, on this, Jay?
I got nothing for you.
All right, guys, go take a look at that list. Send us an email. Give us your thoughts. Coming back, we got some sink or swim for you. That's coming up. All right, welcome back. So right now it's time for Sink or Swim. I wanted to use this time to offer up congratulations to two people who really are fixtures in the Vegas sports scene, and a lot of people might not even know their names. Their two names are Albert Hall and Warren Legary. We were lucky enough to talk to them on multiple shows in the past couple weeks here on Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. They are the co-founders of the NBA Vegas Summer League that goes on every summer. It's been 20 years of the Vegas Summer League here, and it's such an exciting thing. The impact it's had not only on the NBA, but the impact it's had on Vegas sports and athletics is really something that we don't have enough time to even get into. But it's an amazing thing what they have accomplished for years and years. We know former commissioner of the NBA, David Stern, was notoriously unenthusiastic and adamant against the NBA not having a presence in Vegas. And the fact that these two guys got a lot of no's to become yeses and made this city a place where it's a basketball haven and there's going to hopefully be an NBA franchise in the future. We got to give them a big congratulations for 20 great years. So thank you to them. We'll see you next time on Sound Off Sports.